Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we are going to be talking about what's blocking your divine partner from finding you. And I wanted to do this video because I feel like as a collective, I've noticed that people tend to swing to opposite extremes. Like in one instance, there are the people who are really focused on like twin flame, soulmates, divine partners, to the point where you can tell that their whole sense of self-worth is tied up in that, to the point where it's really feeding like codependency, right? But then there's people who swing to the opposite extreme where they're like, oh, I'm just focused on self-love and my finances. Like if you are focused on love, or if you want love, like romantically, that's a weakness. Like that's weak. That's not something you would want. That's a negative extreme as well. Like there is a happy middle ground where you could be focused on self-love. You could be focused on your career. You could be elevating as a person, but you could still desire to have a healthy, long-term, stable partner. Like there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do this reading. For those of you who maybe deep down you really do desire a divine partner, and maybe you have been suppressing that desire because you see all over the internet that it's like a weakness to have that desire, but there's nothing weak about it. There's nothing wrong about it. It's just all a matter of making sure that, you are finding a sense of self-worth, and you are, practicing self-love outside of that romantic connection as well. It's okay to want it as long as you are still, on your healing journey and becoming like very self-sufficient and healthy within yourself, so that when you do meet this person, you can have a healthy connection. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting that. Nothing wrong with wanting a romantic partner. So yeah, that's why I wanted to do this reading. But also, I was reading earlier about divine partners and something called a divine delay, where basically a divine delay is where you are prevented from meeting your divine partner until you reach a certain, I don't want to say a certain level, because that makes it sound like it's a game, like, oh, you have to reach a level to get your divine partner. And it can almost come across as like, you're not good enough right now. You have to be better to meet your divine partner, because that's not true. Like obviously you're good enough now. You're deserving of love right now. But sometimes when we meet our divine partner too early, or we cross paths with them too early, it could really lead to us self-sabotaging. Well, actually it can go two ways. We could either self-sabotage, or we could cross paths with them and just feel nothing for them because we are not at a certain part in our journey yet. Like maybe we still have certain attachments to toxic people, to certain karmic partners, and things of that sort. Like we're on a certain frequency because we have to clear out certain wounds that we have still, right? So again, we'll end up either sabotaging the connection, or just not even recognizing it at all, like not feeling much for the person at all. So yeah, that's what a lot of you could be experiencing right now, is a divine delay. And so what I wanted to do in this video is talk about like what you can do in order to kind of clear out that delay, or clear out that blockage, in order for you to reach a certain frequency and for your divine partner to be able to come into your life because you're in alignment with them, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. If you are new to pick a card readings, then the way that it works is that you look on the screen and you purely use your intuition to figure out which card or which image calls to you the most. Okay, this is not something that you want to use your logic with. This is not something that you want to, analytically choose. This is all intuitive. And this is another reason why I love pick a card readings too, is because it really is like an exercise of your intuition. If you think about it, like if you choose a certain card based on your intuition, and then you go in the description box, right, and you click the timestamp of the card that you chose, and then you get the messages, that reprograms your mind to know, hey, I can trust my intuition. Like my intuition is accurate. My intuition is strong. I can trust my intuition. And so the more pick a card readings that you watch, the stronger your intuition is going to be. And then you'll be able to use those intuitive gifts in your day-to-day life, like outside of just watching tarot readings, right? So yeah, that's why I really enjoy pick cards and why I want to do more of them. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I feel like I'm rambling. Pause the video if you need to in order to look at the images on the screen, and then head to the description box and pick the timestamp, and your messages will be waiting for you. Okay, group number one, let's look at what's blocking you from your divine partner finding you. So we have the Hierophant card that came out, and we have the Capricorn card in reverse. So immediately what I'm seeing from these two cards is that there's something that society has programmed into you that's blocking your divine partner from coming in. So this is like society's toxic standards in some way, shape, or form. So this could go a couple of different ways. So for example, society has programmed into a lot of people that if they don't make a certain amount of money, they are unworthy. And with that being in their mind, it's a blockage, because until they make a certain amount of money, they don't feel worthy. And until they feel worthy, it's hard for them to align with their divine partner and manifest their divine partner, right? So what'll keep on happening for someone who has that subconscious programming of like, oh, I'm broke right now, or I don't have enough money right now, so I'm unworthy. When they have that mindset, even if they did try to date, or if they attracted certain people, they will attract people who reflect that back to them. So they might attract people who are very materialistic, who are constantly putting them down about like, oh, you don't have enough money, or you're broke, or you can't afford this, or you can't afford me, or like things like that. And yes, I've actually heard people say those exact things. Now, I do want to give this disclaimer too, that I see a lot online, people saying, oh, you need to focus on your money. Like if you are not financially stable, that should be your focus. Dating shouldn't be your focus. And I agree with that to an extent. Definitely. I do think that sometimes relationships can be a distraction, like when you are trying to become financially stable. But then I also do see the other side of it, where sometimes you do just want companionship. Like, maybe you're not where you want to be financially, but you still want companionship. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. So, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks. But for the most part, I'm just using this, like the money thing or like the financial stability thing as an example. Like another example would be, like, let's say society's beauty standards. Let's say that you don't meet or you don't fit society's beauty standards in some way. There's subconscious programming that's there that says, because you don't meet this standard, you cannot have a divine partner. You cannot live a happily ever after. So yeah, it's something about society. It's something about society, or even something from your family. It's something traditional is what I'm hearing, that you feel like you don't align with it. And so therefore you can't have your divine partner. When I say traditional, when I say family, it reminds me of, how do you pronounce her name? Umber, from The Quietest Revolution. Amazing YouTube channel, amazing tarot reader and astrologer. Like, she's one of the first people that I watched. Definitely go and check her channel out. Again, it's called The Quietest Revolution. But this reminds me of a podcast that she did once, where she was talking about how, she comes from a very traditional Indian family, I believe. And she was saying that the women in her family were telling her that she's never going to be able to find like a husband because of the fact that she's too outspoken. So traditionally, like in her culture, it's like women are expected to be more submissive, I guess, or more like meek. And I said meek, not weak, because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing weak about a woman who is like a bit more quiet and soft spoken. So just to make that clear, I said meek. But yeah, in her culture, that's what's desirable, like a woman who's more soft-spoken, right? And she is more like outgoing, or not even outgoing, but more just like very opinionated. Like she's going to speak up when she sees any type of like injustice, even if it goes against her culture, And her family would just continue to tell her, you're never going to find a husband. You're never going to find a husband acting that way. And she was talking about how she internalized that. She internalized it, and she feels like it caused a major blockage for her, because she had it in her mind that she was too outspoken to be married. And that's the thing. She's not too outspoken to be married. She's not too outspoken, well, to marry a man from her culture. She's been married to someone outside of her culture, but she's not too outspoken. Like, there is someone in her culture that would marry her despite her being outspoken. And I know this because the universe is abundant, right? So, like, out of all the people in her culture, like, there's not one that wouldn't want to marry her. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just kind of just doesn't make any sense. But that's the thing about programming, is sometimes the programming is illogical, and it's just something that's been repetitively told to us. And so that's what's blocking us. So that's what I'm seeing for you. It's like, there's something about tradition, or there's something about your, there's something about like your culture or about society that is telling you that you're not worthy, or that you're not good enough as you are right now, or something along those lines. And that's something that needs to be addressed. It definitely needs to be reprogrammed for sure out of your mind. And the best way that I've come to find to deprogram from like traditional things or like society related things is to, one, kind of not participate in society as much. So staying off of social media a bit can be helpful. And then also creating your own society within society. I know that might sound really odd, but like, for example, look at the people who are like emo, or they are alternative. Like, these are subcultures because they've created a culture within the culture. Like, they've created their own little society, right? Because they didn't resonate with societal norms, right? And those are the types of people who you usually will come to find that they have found like happiness, or like they found like a sense of belonging because they have created a cult, like they found a society that they fit into within society. And so that's kind of what I'm hearing intuitively. It's kind of like maybe needing to start your own society, or like start your own something like with like-minded individuals, and that'll help you kind of detach from societal norms. You see what I'm saying? And it'll help you to come across people who don't resonate with societal norms either. And so then like y'all are all on that frequency, and you're all like accepting of each other, and those wounds of like the fact that you're not accepted by society as a whole will start to fall away from you. You see, like it kind of reminds me of like my YouTube channel, right? How within my family, or like just people offline in general, nobody really understood anything about like childhood trauma, healing, things like that. And so I started that space so I can connect with like-minded individuals. And suddenly I don't even know what it feels like to be misunderstood anymore, because I know if I upload to my YouTube channel, it's going to be at least one person that understands exactly what I'm going through, that has had my exact experience, you see? And so that kind of helped me to kind of detach from like the feeling of being different or being isolated offline. Like finding your people, creating like a little group or society or like subculture. And with the internet, it's possible to do that. And even if you don't start that subculture, you can join one. Like there's some that are just like already created online. Like you can even like go on Facebook. The different communities that they have on Facebook is crazy. Like, for example, I'm a member of like the Winnie the Pooh lovers community on Facebook. And it's simply because I really enjoy watching people like in their love for Winnie, like their deep love for Winnie the Pooh. Like they'll go out shopping and they'll post to the Facebook group like, hey, I like, look what I found. And it'll be like a Winnie the Pooh notebook, and the whole comment section will be like, oh my God, amazing. Like I can't, you're so lucky. Like, and it's just so, it's cute. And so like that just gives you an idea of like how, on the internet, there's so many different communities that you can join with like-minded people. And kind of withdraw away from society and like society's toxic ass standards, you know? And that includes like not ingesting any media either, like any type of songs. Like if you're someone who, for example, you don't meet society's beauty standards, which the beauty standards are toxic and ridiculous. If you don't meet those beauty standards, then, you know, okay, sorry, I was like in the middle of channeling and I got like a knock at the door. So annoying. But like I was saying, if you're someone who doesn't meet society's beauty standards, don't listen to songs that like take shots at, you know, women's looks or like people's looks in general. Like don't listen to music that glorifies those beauty standards. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like don't ingest shows or like movies that glorify those beauty standards. Don't, you know, scroll on Instagram where there's like a whole timeline of people who meet those beauty standards. Like you have to kind of withdraw away from that in order to reprogram your mind. And it's not about avoidance. Like it's not like you have to avoid these things altogether, but you do have to withdraw from them for a certain amount of time in order for you to reprogram your subconscious, right? So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you. That's what I'm seeing for you. It's like finding like-minded individuals that will make you feel less like you have to meet a ridiculous standard that society or that tradition has set for you. And also just having an abundance mindset, like just knowing that, like, look at how many people there are on this earth. But you really, really think that there's not one out there that's going to accept you despite what society says. Society might tell you like, yeah, you're not worthy of love until you do this, or until you have this, or until you look like this. But that's ridiculous because, like, again, look at how many people there are on this earth. There has to be at least one person who does not resonate with society's ridiculous standards and who you are their ideal person. Like, you specifically, whatever it is that your body type, the way that you act, the way that you laugh, the way that you, like, everything about you, you are their type. And you have to have that abundance mindset because logically, it just makes sense. Like, this isn't even something that's so like over the top or just like, oh, it's hard to believe. No, it's not. Just think of it as a numbers game. Look at how many people there are on this earth. Look at the internet and how many people you can interact with in one day. Not saying that you're going to find your divine partner on the internet. You might. It's possible, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, just look at how many people there are online or how many people there are in this world in general. And yeah, some of you might think like, well, there might be a lot of people, but you know, there's a lot of terrible people that are not like, you know, divine partner material, which is like, yeah, that's true. But at least one of them has to be, right? It's all about, all about having an abundant mindset, despite the fact of what society might tell you, and just detaching from society's ridiculous standards, which is not easy. It's a whole reprogramming that has to be done because society does a very good job of systemically just tearing people down. Like, but I don't want to get into like my rant about society because, you know, I'm an Aquarius and I can go on for days. But society does a very good job of implanting into everyone's mind that we are like worthless. And it's actually disgusting and horrible. Whenever I think about how, like, from a young age, society has been, like, the media has been programming that into us. It's disgusting. And it's a large reason why a lot of people's divine partnerships are blocked. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you. I don't want this to go on for too long. Thank you so much for watching this reading. I hope that it was helpful. Yeah, and I will see you guys in my next video. If you feel drawn towards watching the second group as well, you can watch that too, because it might resonate. Whenever you watch a pick a card reading, multiple groups could potentially resonate with you. But yeah, that's it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next reading. Bye. Okay, group number 2. So let's look at what is blocking your divine partner from finding you. So we have the Six of Pentacles in the reverse, and we have the Mercury card. All right, so what I'm seeing with the Six of Pentacles in the reverse is that there's definitely a wound that's here within you that has to do with an imbalance of give and take. So it looks like you give way too much, but you're very slow to take, or you're slow to receive. So there is some type of like blockage here, like when it comes to your energy being imbalanced. I feel like for a lot of your life, this is the role that you could have played, like someone who just gives a lot, to the point where like your whole sense of self-worth can be wrapped up in how much you give. Like, oh, I do so much for people. I give so much to people. Like, when I love so hard, I'm willing to like give them the shirt off my back. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, except for the fact that when you meet people who are the extreme opposite of that, who are takers, they are going to use you and exploit you and drain you. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And this is something that you could have already experienced numerous times, like people who you've done so much for, them just like mistreating you, or them like just not reciprocating that energy, them not returning that same love and time and care is what I'm seeing. So that is a blockage here, because you're being asked now to give yourself the same thing that you were giving these other people. So like to give yourself all of that love and all of that energy and all of that time, and to not allow anybody into your life who cannot do the same. Like anybody who wants to come into your life and take and take and take from you, but they're not reciprocating anything. They're not filling you up. They're not, they're not just acting as a positive force in your life. Instead, they're just taking and draining. Like those types of people, they have to be cut off. They have to be let go of, because they are reinforcing the programming in your mind that tells you that your worth comes from you overextending yourself. But because that's not true. Your worth comes from the fact that you are just alive. Like you're inherently worthy. You don't have to give your last to anybody. You know, to be worthy. You don't have to overextend yourself and self-sacrifice and, put yourself on the back burner in favor of everybody else to be worthy. And again, I feel like that's something that has just been programmed into you, and it's something that you're needing to like slowly but surely start to deprogram and step away from. And the first step towards doing that is to make sure that there's nobody being allowed in your life that drains you and takes from you. This reminds me of, a good friend of mine who is like the most generous person you can ever meet. And it makes me really sad when I see like people like try to take advantage of her, like people will, they have no problem like waking her up in the middle of the night to ask like, hey, can you give me a ride here or a ride there? Like they don't even care that she needs to be asleep to get to work the next day. Like that sort of thing is what I'm saying. And she'll get up and she'll go and get them too, because she just has a good heart like that. But sometimes like having a good heart also means having a good heart towards yourself and like having empathy towards yourself and like setting those boundaries and being like, no, if I have to overextend myself to the point where it's detrimental to me, it's harmful to me, it's draining me, then no, like we can't proceed with this connection. We can't proceed with this, friendship or relationship or whatever it is. And I want to be clear too. I just want to make this clear that I'm not saying to adopt that mindset of like, nobody owes you anything. Like, I don't owe anybody anything. I see that online all the time. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't think that you should adopt that mindset fully, because I feel like that mindset can leave you very, not just lonely, but also it can leave you with a lot of karmic debt, because people who have that mindset of like, I don't owe anybody anything, they'll do whatever they feel like doing in order to make themselves feel good. And it could be like the worst thing possible that they could do to another person. And they're doing it anyway, because they feel like I don't owe anybody anything. Like these are people who will like cheat and like walk out on their families and like betray you and like steal their friend's partner, like because they feel like I don't owe anybody anything. Like I'm going to do what makes me happy. And that's not the mindset that I'm like, that I'm promoting right now at all. Because that's just degeneracy. And no, I'm more so talking about like just having boundaries for yourself and just understanding that you are worthy of people giving to you as much as you give to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're worthy of receiving blessings in abundance the same way that you have blessed other people. Like you've been a blessing to so many people that you don't even realize it. And you deserve somebody who comes into your life and is a blessing to you. Like think about all the things that you've done and overextended yourself to people. Now imagine if somebody had come into your life and gave that to you. How much easier would your life have been? Yeah. And that's how you know that you're a blessing. You are a blessing to these people and to these people's lives, and you are deserving of someone to come into your life and be that blessing for you as well. But first you have to rid yourself of these people who want to take from you and who want to drain you. I do also think that with this Six of Cups being here in the reverse, this is also just talking about being mindful of your energy in general and like what you're giving your energy to in general, focusing on things that fulfill you and like light you up versus indulging in things that just drain you on a regular or like just make you feel negative or just put you in a bad headspace. It's like you're needing to make sure you're putting your energy into those things that light you up and staying away from those things that drain you. That's another message that's coming through here. So yeah, I feel like once you do that, your energy is going to shift, your frequency is going to shift, and that is what's going to make it so that your divine partner is ready to come in, because your divine partner is going to be a blessing in your life. Your divine partner is coming to not just take from you, but to also give so much to you. And if you are in this energy of feeling like you're only worthy if you overextend yourself and having this blockage when it comes to receiving, then how can your divine partner come into your life? Because their energy is one where they are going to want to give to you. You don't see what I'm saying? So you have to be in receptive mode. You have to be able to receive the same blessings that you give out. And that starts with giving those things to yourself. And it puts you in a vibration of your divine partner coming into your life and just being like a blessing in your life, like I said. And so you're both going to be like doing so much for each other. Like it's going to be like a reciprocal relationship where you're pouring into each other. The Mercury card is here as well. So I feel like this is saying to not underestimate the energy that gets drained through your words as well, or like the energy that's transferred through your words. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. Like, okay, you could be thinking to yourself, well, I don't really overextend to people anymore. Like I used to give them like money, or I used to give them a lot of my time and energy, like physically doing things for them. And now I've set a boundary where like I don't physically do much for anybody. But if you're still like giving them your time in terms of like speaking to them, that's still energy. Like, don't think that you're a blessing in someone's life just because of the physical things that you do for them, right? Like, there's also this other aspect to it where just your words are like a blessing to other people. Like, just people being able to call and like call you and have you speak to them. That in itself is like like boosting them up. Like that's helping them. Like, your words are extremely powerful, especially because I'm getting that you're someone who like, it's almost like you're gifted with your words. It's like you are able to communicate with people in a way that's so compassionate, that's so like loving, or like that makes them feel really understood. Like, they could be going through something horrible and they've called 3 people already to talk about it. And those past 3 people that they've called has done nothing to make them feel better. Like, because they're too surface level, or they're too shallow, or like they just don't have the emotional depth or the capacity. Right. But then they call you, and it's like you are there like to really tell them exactly what they need to hear, in terms of like just being compassionate, in terms of like really understanding them on a deep level. Don't underestimate how significant that really is. Don't underestimate that. Just because I'm seeing here that is truly something that shifts people. Like, your words have the ability to shift people's lives. And so be mindful of the energy that you're giving people, even with just your words. Like, if it's somebody who calls you all the time to vent about their problems, and you're constantly like telling them like it's okay, and like giving them all this advice and helping them to see things from a different perspective, and helping them to shift their energy, and just like giving them that feeling of feeling seen and understood that all humans need, don't underestimate how valuable that is. And if that person is not in turn doing the same for you, if you can't call them up and say that you have a problem, and they can't help you to shift it and help you to uplift you the way that you uplift them, then yeah, no, like there's an imbalance, you know? And of course, this is a case by case thing. Like, it varies, because obviously there are going to be friends who have different strengths. Like, right, maybe you are the friend that people call in order to, you know, talk to. And then maybe you have a friend that you call for other reasons. But for the most part, it should be something that's reciprocated. It should be like you're able to call them and get the same things that you're getting from them, that you're giving to them. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're giving certain things to them. They should be able to pour into you in that same exact way. So yeah, don't think just because you're not physically doing something, like you're not physically getting up and leaving your bed and running errands for someone, that you're not overextending to them, because you can still overextend to them with just your words, because of the fact that if they come to you with a problem, you're able to shift it or help them shift it. But if you come to them with a problem, the energy is not returned, you see? So yeah, I think that's it. I feel like I'm rambling now. I don't want to make this too long, but that's what I'm seeing for you. Be a blessing in your own life and pour into your own cup at this point. And the whole like overextending, self-sacrificing thing, that's a part of you that really, really needs to be purged. And it's not going to be necessarily easy, because again, I feel like this is a lifelong programming that you're running, like a lifelong subconscious programming of telling you that your worth comes from what you're able to give. And like, absolutely not. That's not the truth. Your worth is literally just there because you exist, because you're just alive. Like, you're just worthy because of that. So it's not going to be a necessarily easy thing. You're going to have to like be very conscious and just be very aware. Like, whenever you find yourself self-sacrificing, or whenever you find yourself overextending, like, you need to just kind of stop yourself and like kind of, you know, pull yourself back and be like, oh, you know, this reminds me of that tarot reading that I watched, and she said that, you know, I'm not supposed to be overextending like this. So, you know, it's going to take some time. Just use your discernment, just remain aware, and like shift your behavior based off of your awareness. And then slowly but surely you will start to reprogram your subconscious, and your divine partner will be able to find you. Like, you'll be on the same frequency and be able to find each other. So yeah, that is what I'm seeing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this reading. If you feel called to the other pile, then you can go ahead and watch that as well, because sometimes, you know, both piles can resonate with you. But if not, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.